Tonight, we've got photos from Captain Marvel, a teaser. We're going to tease you with Daredevil Season 3. And we've got 4 episodes of Iron Fist Season 2. Marvel TV Weekly starts now!
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, that's right. Welcome to Marvel TV Weekly. We've got DJ Tony B. Tony in the booth, scratching it up.
Yo, DJ Tony Town in the booth. What's up?
Tony has done it again. Welcome to Marvel TV Weekly. I'm Christian Bladt. If you have watched the first 4 episodes of Iron Fist Season 2, then you'll understand why we have this song. If not, just having some fun with some DMC. Joined, as always these days, by the one and only Zia Landerson.
Hey, everybody. Happy to be here again.
And Amy Cassandra Martinez.
Hi. Happy Sunday.
Kari Lane is on assignment in that she won tickets to go see some Game of Thrones concert. So that's her assignment. Her assignment was enjoy.
Yeah.
Have fun. We're having some internet issues, so I'm using Amy's phone. It is very large and very stylish.
It's red.
I might get myself one.
Yeah, you should.
And it's got your ticket stuff from Crazy Rich Asians, which is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got Zia manning the chat, or sorry, personing the chat. I didn't mean to, I didn't mean to.
PC, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Lady, I
PC
am
principal.
a person, not
yeah,
a man.
No, we're all persons. Yeah, you're personing it. Yeah, so you get your personage in there. So you let us know what's going on in there. So anyway, there's a lot of things to talk about, but I wanted to start with the Entertainment Weekly photos of Captain Marvel, and there it starts. There's the cover. She's right there, Brie Larson, right there on the cover, and it's a cool look. I mean, it's basically one of the better realizations, physical manifestations of what a comic book character's costume looks like. Obviously, you have to make it a little bit more practical. I think a lot of these things are designed with basically spandex in mind. And then really ever since the first X-Men movie, it's like, yeah, but it's really leather, So, but I think she looks cool. And I think there are people that don't like the look that I'm reading on Twitter. But you know what? You go to Twitter, you're going to find somebody who hates everything.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, if you put out the tweet, I love puppies, you're definitely going to get people like, puppies, come on.
But do they love you back?
Yeah. That's not a bad point.
I know.
Not a bad point. But Zia, as you see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, what are your thoughts?
When I looked at this before, I got more excited about it. The only thing, and this is crazy, the only thing that I think of when I see that suit, though, the negatively, is that it seems like it's really hard to move in. It seems really hot and restricting, and I'm like, now I understand. It's not necessarily sexual. I understand why they draw them in such skimpy outfits. Much easier for moving around. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also so that it is, skimpy,
yeah.
But yeah, it's true. Look, some people really, it's like, you got to breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
One of Jean Grey's earliest costumes had a skirt that probably helped.
Yeah, you can
it's a little
get
ventilation.
much higher.
Yeah. Exactly. No, you don't necessarily want to do the high kicks though, so that might actually be.
Put the shorts under there.
That's true.
Fine.
You're right. What do you think when you see that, Amy? When you see Brie Larson as Captain Marvel?
Well, jumping on with what Zia said, I feel like this is the case, but with Wonder Woman's costume, the one with Gal Gadot.
Very nice.
Thank you. She had multiple versions. So this one might be the one that she just walks in, and there might be another one that's a little bit more flexible. So there's that to possibly keep in mind. I'm just freaking pumped because it's the first official look that we've had of her.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot of sneaky on set photos and stuff with green screen and all that. So these are actual photos which look great. Yeah.
And I'm of course, I think we're all ready for a trailer already. Let's just get a little something. Yes. But I understand we should just take our time.
It is still 9 months away. Yeah.
But is it really?
No,
it's March.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's 6. I'm just bad with numbers. That's really my problem.
Yeah, but it's really exciting. And then the fact that we got a look at so many different characters already.
Yeah, well let's move on and talk about the Skrulls. So we got a good look at the Skrulls in here, and we will talk about the Skrulls in a moment. But so we get to actually see them, and I think what I like about the Skrulls is that it's it's a little bit more subtle because they're not as green as they could be. You know, they're not Hulk green. The ears aren't super pointy. You know, I think it's just like, all right, it's a little bit more practical. It's just like these are a race of people, and these characters, this alien race, the Skrulls, are actually best known from the Fantastic Four. There's actually one specific Skrull who's known as the Super Skrull, and he has the power of all 4 members of the Fantastic Four. We will not see him in this movie, obviously, for obvious reasons, but I don't know, I just think that they look cool. And the thing to know about the Skrulls is that they are able to change their shape so they can look like anybody. So it's always good for, you know, the budget if your expensive aliens look like somebody else. You know?
Also, hashtag secret invasion setup.
Yeah, secret invasion setup, exactly. So, but I love this. I love them coming out of the ocean, you know?
Yeah.
So.
I have a fun little story to share with that.
I love fun little stories.
So Ben Mendelsohn
Yes.
is one of the main Skrulls, right? So back in, gosh, it was the fall. No, actually, it was about a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, The Darkest Hour, that movie that was about Winston Churchill that he was in, as well as Gary Oldman. I went to that carpet.
Commissioner Gordon, yes. I've seen that movie.
Okay.
No, actually, the Darkest Hour movie, I thought was good.
Yeah. So this was when the rumors were being, swirling around that Ben Mendelsohn was going to be in Captain Marvel. And it wasn't confirmed yet. And so I asked him about it on the carpet. And he was like, well, you know, it's very flattering that people think that, you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, Amy, he's obviously not in it. This is so awkward. And here we are. Good for him.
So he was lying to
He
you.
was lying.
So you see that as a positive.
I see that as a positive, for sure.
You got lied to for spoiler prevention.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I saw his name on the IMDb, but I thought, well, it's still
There's
rumor.
a lot of stuff on IMDb that is
Exactly.
not official.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now it's official.
Yeah, I've used IMDb for interview purposes for people, and they're like, and it's like, no, I don't think I'm doing that movie, you know. And sometimes they can't talk about it, and other times it's like, we hope so, you know, one of those. So anyway, very exciting to get a lot of cool images. Let us know in the chat what you're thinking when you see Ms. Marvel in there. And sorry, it is Captain Marvel, but I do often make the mistake because this character, Carol Danvers, was known as Ms. Marvel for a long time. And that was my first time this week of calling her Ms. Marvel. I usually remember to call her Captain Marvel. And the explanation as to why she's Captain Marvel, I've read a little bit. I know why she's Captain Marvel and not Ms. Marvel. And these days she is Captain Marvel in the comics. So very exciting. But it's 6 months away. I said it was 9 months away, but here it is September. So we still have a long time to wait. So they're probably not going to give us that trailer, you know. There'll be some big movie at Christmas time. They'll probably
Mary Poppins.
That's a pretty good guess.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's
not?
Disney, so that is what makes sense. Are we getting any good feedback in the chat, Zia?
Yeah, some people seem to like it. Nerd Chronic says, love the material and the colors, looks solid. Ivan Soto says, I thought Carol Danvers was going to find out that she was half Kree in the movie, but nope, she already knows.
Spoiler, no, it's fine.
And Kristen Jackson, I'm really digging how Captain Marvel looks. And yeah, everybody seems to like it
Glad
so
to
far.
hear it.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's, you know, there's always the haters, like I said, but not in our chat, not
in our
tonight. So there is a little bit more news in that you may not have seen this on your own if you had not finished season 2 of Iron Fist. Which I have, and I did know that this was coming, though, so I knew to watch the credits. So at the end of the credits, you see a little teaser for season 3 of Daredevil. Anthony, are we able to show that? But we got to talk during it. Is that the way I need to remember this?
For the most part, yeah. But you don't have to talk through all of it. But yeah, you do.
Yeah, but we can't just be like, let's watch. It's actually pretty short.
Yeah.
It's one scene, but
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't.
You haven't seen it.
It's
okay.
only 30 seconds.
All right, this is gonna be the official.
the live reaction.
Make sure you get to Amy's close up because this is her reaction
don't
video.
close up.
This
No,
is
we
her
can't do
reaction
that.
video. This is her reaction
This is a
video.
live
No, it's her
reaction.
shot.
Welcome to my
It's her
YouTube
shot
channel,
with
yeah.
her and Zia. But this is like your reaction video. Okay, so let's watch a little of it and then I'll start yammering over it after like 10 seconds.
All right, here we go.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
You haven't seen this either.
Oh my gosh.
I once believed that justice could be found in a court of law. And in the light of day. was fooling myself.
Can't see it.
It's so dark.
Darkness only responds to darkness.
He's in a confessional.
He is in a confessional.
Oh,
and
okay.
He's bloodied up.
He's bloody, yeah. He's not in a
I'd
good
rather
blood.
die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock.
I would rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock. Which is so weird because that was Foggy talking. No, just kidding. That was obviously. And yeah, that's it.
Foggy.
It's just a scene of him in a confessional. And
more.
it's just like, yeah. And we don't know. Well, we've been told already that it will be available sometime this year.
Yeah.
My guess is November because I think they're just not going to, put it in the holiday season. I think that they'll sneak it in somewhere, like maybe around when Punisher came out last year, which was, I think, the second weekend in November. I think that that's when we'll get it. But just exciting to see Matt again. And as we know, as well as has been alluded to, this season will in some way borrow some of the themes from the well-known Born Again storyline that Frank Miller did from Daredevil 227 through, I think, 233, which is, only 33 years ago. But it's a great story. It's an important story. It is basically the deconstruction of Matt Murdock's life. Now, Zia, you and I have talked about this before on the show, that you have read that story as well. There's a lot of things from that we will not see.
No, I don't think we're going to see Nuke, which is one that I don't know why, but I want to see him on screen so badly. I think it's just how he is based and the tattoo on his back. I want all of that.
And I'll mention this as I mentioned before. I thought that Simpson, Trish's boyfriend from season 1 of Jessica Jones, I really thought they were setting him up as Nuke.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like it because he was taking the drugs. And
pills,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But then it obviously didn't go that way.
Right.
But I was actually really excited because I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. But
That would have been quite the head turner.
But that's not what happened. So in any case, we basically didn't get that. But there are going to be some other things. Oh, and what we do talk about, probably Karen Page, probably not starring in pornographic films, and probably not addicted to heroin.
No.
One of those things could happen, but probably not both.
I feel like even the way they set up her character so far, it would be very unrealistic for her to suddenly be doing pornographic films or be doing drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Like this Karen Page, when we meet her, isn't quite as down on her luck as the Karen in the comics.
Right.
But what we are finding out is that there's a lot of Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, in this season. Yes. And he was so great in the first season and barely in the second season. And I think it's good that they only gave us a little because you don't want the same bad guy all the time, And I think I usually use the example from another universe that the TV show Gotham, they fell in love with the actor who played the Penguin. So then the Penguin was in every episode, and you're like, you don't want every week, you want to mix it up a little bit. And I like the idea that we're going to get him again. And Vincent D'Onofrio is having trouble not telling us. In fact, here he is on his Twitter. Gosh, I wish I could tell you about season 3 of Daredevil. I wish I could tell you about this one time. Oops, not allowed to say.
Yeah.
The Kingpin is definitely going to wreak havoc on Matt Murdock's life. And we're going to get to watch, as I say, and enjoy. But it's going to be tough going at times. So I'll ask you first, Amy. How excited are you for season 3 of Daredevil? And there was just a little teaser, but what did that do to your excitement level?
Okay, so on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm at about a 13.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
more than 10.
That is definitely more than 10. I really love Daredevil. And this teaser, the audio alone, I was like, whoa. I'm sure like once I see it, I'll definitely be even more hyped for it. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I love Wilson Fisk. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite characters in the Marvel, like, Netflix verse. So yeah, for sure. I'm really excited. I also just think it's crazy because we got we got Jessica Jones, we got Luke Cage, now we have Iron Fist, now we're gonna get Daredevil, and then we had Punisher. No, that was last year.
Yeah, we had Punisher last year, yeah.
So it's just great. Like, let's just keep this going,
And they have so many stories to borrow from that I feel like it will never get boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you have decades and decades. Daredevil's been around for more than 50 years. And, he even his characters spill over into Iron Fist, which we'll talk about in a moment, you know. So there's no shortage of great stories that they can tell. And I don't know, I think he's just such a rich character. He's so conflicted in so many ways. So, Zia, your excitement level also at a 13, or are you on tempered down a little bit more of like an 11.5?
Maybe a 12.
Okay,
Maybe a 12.
Still close.
Yeah.
Still close. Yeah. All right.
Because I know maybe a little bit of what's coming, but
Yeah.
I still don't know, because I don't know where they're exactly how they're gonna do it, obviously. So there's probably a lot of stuff I don't know that's coming. And just from that trailer, I'm really excited because I feel like we're really gonna see Daredevil Unleashed.
Yeah, I think.
And I'm excited for that.
And by the way, in that teaser, he's dressed like the Man in Black version of Daredevil. He's not in the suit. He's got like I don't know what you would call it. He's basically got like a black Iron Fist hood on.
Yeah.
you
Kind
know,
of like
essentially.
I think I like the vigilante suit.
Yeah, exactly. The vigilante suit. Are people excited in the chat, Zia?
Yeah, we've got some people looking like they're very excited. Ivan Soto does not want Karen to die. He says, I don't want Karen to die.
I hope she doesn't.
hope not.
Honestly, I'm going to just say I'd be really surprised if she did. I think that they really like her. They like the dynamic. They like what she brings to the show. So I feel like she will not die. So
Ghost8386 says, I'm hyped to see Bullseye. Panther7 also, I can't wait to see Bullseye.
yes.
And Kristen Jackson, Kingpin is one of the strongest villains in the MCU.
Yeah, and as I think I mentioned last week, in the current continuity, Wilson Fisk is the mayor of New York City. So it'll just show you that the sorts of things that can happen out there. But anyway, it's just fun to keep track of. So now, I guess if you haven't watched any of season 2 of Iron Fist, shame on you. But we are going to talk about 4 episodes in a moment. So you could take a break and watch all 4 of them. Or just be like me and watch all 10. It's only 10 episodes.
There is a question in here
Yes.
from Stardrew saying, how quick did Christian finish Iron Fist?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And I will tell you about that right after this very important message from Amy Cassandra Martinez.
Ooh, I'm like a commercial.
Tease it forward.
Hello. Hi. Hey, AfterBuzzers. Our network produces after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows. From dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more, there's no network that works harder to serve television fans like you. But we do need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. By subscribing to our channel, YouTube will suggest content that's tailor-made for you, and you'll help AfterBuzz continue to grow. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're totally optional. So all you gotta do is hit that subscribe button right there for this channel, and check out our other AfterBuzz YouTube channels as well. Let us know you did so in the comments down below right there, and we'll thank you on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans and for helping us be the ESPN of TV Talk.
Thanks, Amy. Now, as for my personal viewing habits, so as we announced last week, it was very exciting. Z and I will be on the panel for the AfterBuzz Marvel's Iron Fist Season 2 after show, where we're sort of semi-announcing, semi-officially saying that the first episode will be Wednesday at 10 Pacific, the first episode, and we'll give you the schedule each show, because we're going to try and get through them fairly quickly, because we know the way that people binge the show. So I was only going to watch 4 of them. And Zia, you only watched 4.
I only watched 4.
We're going to talk about 4 in the first episode.
Yes.
And I did that. And then it was like the middle of the afternoon on Friday. So I'm like, okay, great. Let me just do some things. Going to make dinner, go get the kids, put the kids to bed. And then it was like 8:30. And I'm like, so I have the whole night ahead of me. What am I going to do? And if you've seen the first 4 episodes, you start to think at the end of the 4th episode, I kind of really want to see what happens next. So I watched 3 more. And then on Saturday, yesterday, I found out that there were only 10 episodes. And I'm like, oh, well, then I'm going to finish this sumbitch. That's actually literally what I emailed.
He did. He emailed me the night I was watching it as well.
And I was just like, there's only 10? Like, how do I not finish it? So I stayed up and watched one more than I think I would have if there were 13 of them. I would have stopped at 9. But so yeah, that's the sort of rambling answer. In under 48 hours, I was finished.
Wow.
And 10 episodes. It doesn't beat my record, which I mentioned before. Season 1, Jessica Jones, I watched 10 the first day.
Wow.
And there was I ran out of time. I couldn't watch 13 the first day. So. Anyway, so let us know how much you've watched of Iron Fist, those in the chat.
We've got some people in here already. Ghost8386 says, I finished Iron Fist Season 2 on Friday at 8:40 p.m. Kristen Jackson said, I think I finished it all Saturday morning.
Yeah, Kristen Jackson tweeted about how much they wanted to talk about it. And we are not going to talk spoilery, but if you finished... You know how much I want to keep talking about it. There's so much to talk about from, let's just say, the last couple episodes. Let's just say the last episodes. I don't know. Let's just say the last 5 minutes of the last episode. Let's say the last 30 seconds. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh my God.
Just saying, just teasing it for people who haven't watched. I don't think I've given anything away. Not yet. But if I keep talking, I just might. So let's start off. And it would be great if Kari's here, not because it just isn't always great when she's here, but I know she didn't like the first season. So I'll be very interested to find out what she thought of this one. But Amy, I'll start with you. What do you think of these 4 episodes compared to your opinion of Danny season 1?
I think they really just got it right this time. So, I mean, of course, like you guys were like, yay, Team Danny. But I think that this Danny that we're seeing was a little peek that we got in season 2 of Luke Cage, which he's just chill. He's mature. He's not like annoying. So I really appreciate that. And it just the rest of the characters are a little bit more developed. I just think as a whole, everyone just works so much better. The show just feels more mature, but chill. Mature, but chill. I think that's a good way of putting it.
Machill?
Sure.
I just come up with a word.
Yeah,
Machill.
machill.
We should use that every time.
Okay,
Machill.
it's Machill. He's
There you
much
go.
more Machill.
Machill. But yeah, and I'm definitely enjoying this season so far way more than the first one. It's also, stopping at 4, I was just like, why? What's
because
going on?
honestly, if you'd stopped it in the other 3, it's just like, okay, we'll see what happens next. But then when you get to 4, you're like, wait!
Yeah.
Zia, your thoughts of these 4 versus the previous season?
Okay, so I was with you. I did not hate the previous
Team
season.
Danny Rand.
Yes. I didn't love it so much to the point where I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
There were a lot of problems with that season.
I understood
agree.
the problems that they had with it, but I still, as a whole, enjoyed the season, and I watched it pretty much, within a few days, and the story was enough that I wanted to keep watching. This season, I feel like, I really feel like they got everything right. They heard everybody's critiques and criticisms of the previous season, and they fixed it. And I'm so into this story that they're developing with, I guess, Typhoid Mary.
Yes. Typhoid Mary, and she just shows up as just Mary.
As just Mary, because that's one of her dissociative personalities.
Right, and I think, this is where you start to run into problems. Through 4, you don't really get to know, you just get to know Mary, really. You get to see Walker in the 4th one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so you start to kind of see what Walker is capable of, and then, you get a good mix of, mostly Mary from the beginning, and you see how, it's interesting because it's like, sure, she doesn't call it, it's not multiple personality disorder.
It's multiple dissociative disorder.
So it's interesting that she's leaving notes for what they call her alter, for her other self.
Yes.
It's a lot of don't go outside and then stay away from Danny Rand. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just fascinating to kind of watch. And that actress, Alice Eve, I think, she's definitely got her hands full a little bit. I think that I like her as the 2 different personalities. I think it's a little bit of a tall order to have to be the 2 personalities in the same scene. I think the snapping back and forth, I think is really hard to do, but I like the way she separately plays each of them. Walker's just very no nonsense, and then Mary's just literally the sweetest girl you ever met.
Yes, with all of her drawings.
Yeah.
And I love how when she becomes Walker, she's so annoyed by Mary's drawings that they're there.
She does not like Mary.
No.
No, exactly. And yeah, it's a great character, Typhoid Mary, from the Daredevil comics. Was created by Ann Nesenti, who came up in the Chris Claremont X-Men documentary because she was the editor of X-Men for a long time before she started writing Daredevil. And this is just a great character that she co-created with John Romita Jr. And the look is, let's just say, very different. Now, we've shown Typhoid Mary before, but Anthony, if you could grab just an image of, I guess, type in Typhoid Mary Daredevil. I think I want to say it's Daredevil 255, but I might actually be wrong. I sometimes like to show off when I remember issue numbers, but this is one where I just can't say for sure that I'm right.
Wait, what was it?
Just Daredevil Typhoid Mary. And we should get an image. It's a look that I think is very impractical, and I think good for them that they didn't try and give her this look.
No, maybe more room for movement. Just saying.
Look, maybe if she gets her own spin-off series, Mary Mary, why you bugging? Maybe they would use the song. Give a little royalty money to Reverend Ron. There she is from her first appearance, I believe. And so it's the fishnets are very impractical.
I was gonna say I kind of love the fishnets.
I didn't say I didn't like them. I just said they're impractical. Yeah.
But she was a prostitute, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what? It makes sense.
So the backstory is very different, and as the season goes along, you get a pretty good explanation of her backstory and where she's been.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks very 80s here.
Yeah.
I wonder why that would be.
I mean, like, she doesn't, I don't know.
It's because it's from the 80s.
Well, like the fishnets and the hair, and even though it looks like a sweater, she looks pretty covered up, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But I don't know. And Michael was still on the show when it was first announced that she was going to be on. And he and I were both very excited to get to see Typhoid Mary. I'll try and get his opinion and share it with you in a future show. I don't think he's watched this yet. But anyway, so those are just some of the little things. I think it's interesting. I like the ongoing story with Danny and Davos. I love the flashbacks that we get. At least I hope through the first 4 episodes we had flashbacks.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. Of them fighting.
And we get to see, and we knew this from the trailer, we get to see the Iron Fist masks.
Yes.
Which is very exciting. And in episode 4, I believe, we see a corpse that has the Iron Fist mask.
Yep.
So, basically everybody wears that Iron Fist mask except for Danny when he's being the Iron Fist. Because in the first episode, he's basically like poor man's Luke Cage. He's got the hoodie, but he's got a little mask on, and it's like, well, why don't you wear the mask? It's like you probably have one somewhere. Just I don't know, Don't they have Salvation Army in Kunlun? I know you can't go back, but that's besides the point. But I think that they're really doing a good job with the tone in this. And it's just sort of, it's nice. The title of the first episode of season 2, The Fury of the Iron Fist, believe it or not, that is the title from the first appearance of Danny Rand, which was in Marvel Premiere number 15. And the first thing he does in the first issue is he stops a truck robbery. So they're definitely like some nice nods. But I think you're just getting a different feel from season 1 because 1, you have a different showrunner, and 2, very widely reported, they had new fight coordinators, and it shows. I mean, people were very critical of Finn Jones in the first season, but as it was often discussed, including on the show, he was, I believe, the last person cast for the show.
3 weeks he had, right?
He had 3 weeks.
Come on.
That's
And,
not fair.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Danny could have done it, but, Finn Jones, he needed more than 3 weeks to learn all the Kung Fu. So what stands out for you, Zia, as some of your favorite things that you've seen so far in the course of the season? I mean, it could be something we already talked about. It could be any of those interactions. I'm just sort of wondering what stands out.
I love, first of all, how much he uses the Iron Fist.
Yes. He's using it a lot.
Yes. And that's what I want to see. And when he smashes it into the ground, he does that a lot. And I want to, I would happily see that every episode of every season, and I wouldn't get tired of it.
Yeah.
I really did like that robbery scene where he's stopping the truck robbery. I do like Davos a lot. What annoys me a little bit, not annoys me, this is good. It's good that I feel this way about the character, is oh my gosh. Joy. Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I hate her so much in this season.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. You're supposed to feel that way.
You're definitely supposed to hate her. Yeah, and they've managed to make Ward much more sympathetic.
Yes.
And it's like, You tried to kill Danny twice in the first season.
Literally tried to kill him.
And yet you like him much more than Joy
And
this
they're
season.
practically friends now.
Yeah.
They hang out and they talk and
Oh, they're bros.
yeah. It's crazy, which I love. What I don't like, but I haven't gotten past this yet, is we haven't got to see much of Colleen in action.
Yes,
And
not at this point.
Not at this point. Okay, so I'm hoping that we're gonna see more of that. I'm
I
excited
can
for
neither
it.
confirm nor deny, but wait till episode 6. Oh my God! But anyway, I will neither confirm nor deny whether or not that indeed happens. But I like seeing Colleen, and I don't know. I think I just like seeing the scenes with her and Danny. And they're both very conflicted in different ways. Colleen's just like trying to do her own thing and, not carrying the katana around. Because if I have it, I'm probably going to have to beat some people up. So let me just not have it. And, Danny he's going out every night because he's like, I have to, and he has this guilt, which I think is it's a nice tie into the Defenders. I like that in the recap, we actually saw those scenes from the Defenders where Matt Murdock told him to protect my city. So he's like, well, I guess I'm not sleeping now. I got to go out and use the Iron Fist. And yeah, it's refreshing to see him using it regularly, like we did in The Defenders and also in the episode of Luke Cage he was in, because that was the infuriating thing in the first season, was that they kept finding ways for him to not be able to use it. His chi was all messed up. He was heavily sedated and drugged at one point, which made more sense. But it was just like, I really need to work on my chi. It's like, all right, we get it, bro. Get your chi in order,
Figure it out.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
do it behind the scenes so that when
yeah, we just want to see you punch stuff with the glowing hand. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously.
Oh, I really like seeing him getting his anger out on the door.
Oh, that door had it coming.
Yeah. But I love that because it still shows that he's conflicted, but he's sort of figured out a way to handle it a little bit better. So you still see that conflicted character, but he's channeling it a different way. And I like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that, my biggest problem the first season really was the supporting cast. I found Ward and Joy very dislikable and Harold way over the top, and it was really hard to watch every scene with him. I will just flat out say that.
Look, I was just happy.
He was chewing way too much scenery, the actor who played Harold in the first season. But he was a guy who was reanimated a couple of times from the dead, and so he's going to be a little, let's say, eccentric. I think that I like the way they've got Ward. He's got a lot of problems, tons of baggage, and I do find it's a little hard to imagine Joy being this mad, but I do like that she's conflicted about it. Danny's being nice to her, and Davos asks her, it's like, you're not wavering, and she's like, what? No, of course not. But clearly she is. She's like, are we really going to do this to this really nice guy?
Which, I'm sorry, but what is she really upset? That always drives me crazy, and it happens in everything. Where maybe I just this has yet to happen to me, so I can't speak on it. And maybe when it does, I'll be angry too. But when someone keeps something from you like that, but literally for your protection, like they had a really good reason for trying to keep her uninvolved, because when she did get involved, she was shot and it was a mess and it was chaos. And so they were really trying to keep her safe, and she gets so upset about it. And she's like, my father, I lost my father. He was an insane person and you saw it.
Yeah, it's like you kept our father from me. It's like, well, yes, I had to.
Yes.
And also the hand was going to kill him. There's a whole thing to that. But it's also like, I know you want to make the decision for yourself, but it would not have been good for you,
She literally got shot.
Yeah.
She almost died.
Right. And there's plenty of that as the season goes along, sort of the narrative between Joy and Ward. And it's interesting to see how she's just taking so much out on Danny. Amy, what's standing out for you in these 4 episodes as to what you've enjoyed the most?
Well, I really love, I think it was the beginning of 4 or maybe the end of 3 that we got Misty.
Yes.
I was like, yeah.
And I do love the moments like, you can walk right past me?
Yes.
She's like, hey. Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, well, we're in the middle of something.
Yeah.
But and I like it when Netflix shows crossover like that, because then it's just like, yes, this is all one universe technically. And yeah, Colleen is definitely one of my favorite characters, so I agree with you. I definitely would want to see more fighting. Typhoid Mary, honestly, is a big one for me because I don't know her whole storyline. So I know that each episode is just like getting closer to everything that's going to happen in the 10 episodes. So I'm like, each one is just so intense. So you're just watching her every single move. And the way the 4th episode ended, you're like, well, this is crazy now, Davos and the whole situation. I realized this last season, but more so this season, Ward really looks like an alternate kind of version of Justin Long.
Yes.
So
I've never thought that in my life, but as soon as you said it, I'm like, oh, I see it. Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, it's so weird. But yeah, and I mean, I like that Colleen and Danny tried to have that dinner where they could all just like talk, but I love how tense that was, and not necessarily drawn out, but they didn't rush it. So I like that. And yeah, I really like Colleen and Danny together. I feel like they really work well together, more so than other Marvel Netflix characters together. You know, like with Jessica and Luke, it's just very like dangerous.
Luke and Claire.
Luke and Claire.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's why I really like Danny and Colleen together. Yeah, there's just so much better. I'm really enjoying this whole season way more. And it's nice. I'm taking them like, an episode at a time. I'm really enjoying them.
Yeah, and then some of us just need to
cool. I
go
totally
on an all-night binge and just
I totally get that. That's
but
awesome.
It's like the way that episode 4 ended. I was just like, it was just nagging at me. I'm like, no, I need to know where this goes.
See, that's
and then as the
funny.
season goes along, it's like, oh no, I need to know what happens next now. So they did a really good job of building the story. And look, we've said on this show before, 10 episodes works really well, and we can look back on it once you've both finished. But I think 3 more episodes would have really slowed this down.
Yeah.
I said the last season of Luke Cage, 10 episodes would have been perfect.
Yeah.
It was too long, only because they just didn't move the story right. Other seasons, 13 episodes has worked, some of the other Netflix seasons, but this was perfect for this one. So I like the pacing. I think it works really well. I don't know what we're going to get in future seasons. Did this show only get 10 episodes because people didn't love it? Let's put that, put it that way nicely. What are people saying in the chat, Zia?
Oh, we've got a few things. All right. Zayas
Bilou, yes.
Zia, facts. It reminds me of the way Matt kept things away from Karen and Foggy's well-being.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, that also drove me crazy that they were so upset. Kristen Jackson says there's a combo later on trying to explain the exact problem you have. I guess what I was talking about.
Yes.
I'll find out about that.
They will explain it, yeah.
If Typhoid is written right, she should be like a FX Legion-like character with her crazy history backstory. That would be cool.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether or not she is written like that in the course of these 10 episodes.
And then Ivan Soto, who's the big bad of season 2 then? Steel Serpent or Typhoid Mary?
Well, it's a great way to put it. So Steel Serpent is Davos, by the way. And getting to see him, basically the flashback that we get of them fighting each other, that's sort of the best sort of recreation of an Iron Fist Steel Serpent moment from the comic books. And the overall big bad is certainly Davos because, of what the motivation is. And I'm not even talking about anything that happens after episode 4. Everything that happens in these first 4 episodes is motivated by the plan that Davos has, that Joy is helping him with, and she certainly has her own reasons. But this is Davos's plan. And I would say that Walker is really a tool towards that end. And what Amy was referencing sort of in episode 4, just the way that she has this, she's got it perfectly figured out how to take down the Iron Fist. You sedate him, you keep his hand where he can't use it, and then you have to also be able to legitimately kick his ass, which she can. So it was, I didn't like seeing Danny get beat up, but I was just like, man, she just took him out. You know what I mean? He didn't have a chance, really. It doesn't matter where his chi was at that day. He was going to get his ass kicked, So it's so episode 2. What I wanted to comment on is it has the flashback scene, and that was sort of one of my favorite things that we got to see. It was the thing from the trailer that I was most excited about. Yes, partially because they wear the masks, but it's so much about them as we see that fight and the sort of the repercussions for the way that the fight went. And how they feel about the way that day went. So I just like seeing that. And once again, the episode title, "The City's Not for Burning," is a title from, and these are all things that we'll talk about on the Iron Fist After Show. That is the title from Iron Fist number 3 in 1976. I'm getting some of these fun facts from the website Den of Geek. I think I should give them credit because they're really good at the Easter eggs, and it's stuff that I'm like, well, I should have remembered that. And then half of it is like, how did anybody know that? You know?
Nice.
So what I thought was interesting, this was like a good, episode 2 had kind of a good Joy moment because you get the feeling that Joy doesn't really have friends. And so this girl who is her friend, who Ward even says that, and by girl I mean woman, sorry. But yet, you know, they knew each other when they were girls. This woman who is her friend, Ward's like, you hate her. And you kind of see that because she's like, you know, setting up the little laptop to, you know, to blackmail her. So I thought it was sort of interesting. It's just like people in her lives are really just tools to an end, whatever her end is, whatever her agenda is. And then it was just interesting the way that this lady was not backing down. Because Davos was like, he's not playing hard to get. He's playing like ungettable. He's like impossible to get. And then he like has to like give in. So she's like, oh, look at that. It worked.
That was hilarious to me because he was so upset about it. He's like, oh gosh, I have to have sex. I don't want to do this. And you're like, oh, how terrible, Davos.
Yeah.
That was so funny.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, this is not part of my mission. It's like, all right, you know, be a little bit more like Danny.
Take
you know?
the night off.
Yeah,
Jeez.
exactly.
Relax. It's going to be a fun time for you, buddy.
Yeah. So episode 3 has the dinner party, which I thought was obviously a terrible idea. Just like Ward not to show up, by the way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's what makes the character interesting is that we see him outside and he wants to go in. But he just can't. So he needs to basically go get messed up instead because that's just where he's at in his life. I thought it was fun to sort of watch them throw the dinner party for these people that we know or have terrible plans for them. But I give a lot of credit to Colleen, just like, what are we doing here? Like, what do you want? It's like, Davos, we know why you're mad at Danny. You think you deserve the Iron Fist. Talk about it, And I don't know, I thought that she's not doing any fighting, any choreographed, beating people up. But I thought it was great to see. That was a great moment. I thought that was very strong for Colleen. What did you think of this episode, Zia?
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love Colleen for calling everybody out because it was getting ridiculous. Honestly, it was so silly to see Joy pretending like they were a couple and that they met in, what was it, Paris?
Yeah.
I was like, come on. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And Danny pretending like he believed it.
Okay, Colleen just humored it. I think that Danny he's still that 15-year-old kid. He's like, oh, that's so sweet.
You think he's a little bit too naive?
I think he's a little wet behind the ears. You think he didn't buy it?
I don't think he bought it. Just think that he didn't want to, I don't know, like go the way Colleen was going. We're just like, confronting them right away. Just thought he was like, okay.
He just wanted to have his brother back for a minute.
Yeah, just kind of go a different way. Almost like, not more civil, but kind of. Yeah. It was just awkward, uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that they really captured the uncomfortable dinner party. And, Colleen even referenced that, Joy just couldn't stop making, like, domestic comments. And, and talking
that annoyed me, too.
Talking about where they lived.
Yes.
Well,
I love that Colleen was like, I'm going to kick her out if she doesn't stop saying these domestic comments. I was like, yes.
That's
Seriously.
something, though, like, about the show, that whenever they show food, they just make it look so good.
Yeah,
that was
right?
And that was burned food that was supposed to not look good.
Well, he
yeah.
was like,
delicious.
Oh, what are those? Like meatballs? Is that how they make? That's how I make them. And
I know, and I was
those
like,
look so good.
Yes.
Like, why don't I grill my meatballs
Right?
outside? I don't know. I should be more like Danny Rand, is what it really comes down to. Maybe I'll get that tattoo. Probably not.
Do it.
I'll get it as a back tat. There you go. It'll be a little bit more. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
So we have some other characters introduced, referenced sort of earlier on. I think in episode 3 they were referenced, but as we get to episode 4, we hear about the Crane sisters who factor into this ritual that they needed the bowl for. So we're starting to really see what Davos's plan was. And this was the crazy part for me, which is because we don't really see where we get. You know, where do we go after episode 4? I needed to know, and then they didn't tell me. So that's why I had to watch it. So on next week's show, we'll talk about at least 4 more episodes. But honestly, there's only 6 more episodes. So I feel pretty confident we should be able to talk about all 10. And I'd like to say that we can talk about all 10 because once you've seen all 10, we probably do a whole show talking about what was this? What was that? What's going on? What's next? And what we know is next, of course, is Daredevil season 3. So anyway, yeah. So, but we will get more in depth to all 4 of these episodes on the Iron Fist After Show here at AfterBuzz TV. Zia and myself will be on there, and we believe it will be Wednesday at 10 p.m. Pacific. And it'll be archived, so whenever it is, you'll be able to just go ahead and find it on YouTube or iTunes, and
we will tweet about it.
We will tweet about it because Zia's on Twitter now.
I'll tweet about it, you guys. I promise.
You have like 4 tweets.
I have 4 tweets. They're all retweets.
And a bunch
too.
of retweets.
Yeah, there's just.
I mean, that's the start.
It's definitely a start. So we will talk about all that next week. Is there any final thought from the chat? You can sort of review if you'd like. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ChristianDMZ. And as I mentioned, the Iron Fist After Show will be Wednesday at 10. At least we think so. Anything that any quick shout out in there?
Just a couple quick. Stormy Wood says Iron Fist just isn't watchable for me.
Okay.
It's okay, Stormy.
People feel that way.
We still like you.
Even after season 2, there's still you still have the people that just didn't like it. All right.
Ghost8386 says Hunwoods. I guess he still likes it.
Okay.
Thanks, Ghost. And Ivan Soto says, you guys are giving me reasons not to watch. LOL. Joey doesn't sound good at all. Just evil. Oh, Joy.
Joy.
Goodness. Joy doesn't sound good at all. Just evil. She's annoying me too, Ivan.
Yeah.
But you should still watch it.
But you should still watch it.
I mean,
it's so
typhoid
good.
migraine.
Yeah,
it's so
exactly. It only gets better. That's all I'll say. And so, Zia, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Zia_land. It's XIA_LAND. And also join me this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for the finale of Castle Rock.
I haven't even started it yet, and it's already got a finale. But I want to watch it, so I'm interested in seeing it. And Amy, where do people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, like my shirt
For those watching on YouTube, her show says find me on Instagram.
There we go. And really all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
All right, thanks so much. And in the booth, Tony B. Tony _. Thank you, Tony, for all your help. And we will see you next Sunday at 10, except, of course, Z and I will see you this Wednesday at 10. But until then, Excelsior!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.